Hey guys, it's your girl Bree and I'm back with another video. Today I'm actually going to be doing a part 2 to the PSE video that I already made. Reason being is because I realized, number one, it's hiring season, so a lot of people are looking for this information, and reason two is because a lot of people are asking questions. So I actually have some information that's written down. And I'm going to go over some of the things that I already said, but try to make it as clear and broad as possible. And also, I have quite a few questions written down from people, and I'm just going to go over those things. So everybody's questions will be answered by the end of this video. If you commented on my last video, your questions will be answered. I feel like I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, I got my phone like jagged up on something, so it don't matter. So for starters, this is a PSE video, so that's what I'm going to talk about. I will just briefly touch on an MHA, but I don't know much about it. I've only been an MHA for not a long time, and then I moved over to being a PSE, so that's the reason why. I don't want you to feel like I'm just not answering your questions I don't know your name, but you asked that. So for starters, PSE, the PSE position. There's a difference. There's two PSE positions. One where you work in a local office alongside a postmaster, other mail clerks. I just had a brain fart. Other mail clerks and also mail carriers. You also work with customers. Your typical hours in that local office is 9 to 5. You'll possibly work before 9 o'clock. Actually, you will work before 9 o'clock because you have to sort mail. Now, the other PSE position is a PSE in the plant where you'll have multiple supervisors. You'll work alongside other clerks and like hundreds of people. It's a very factory setting. You don't work with customers there. Customers are not allowed in there. The pay for both is $17.19. No matter if it's holiday or you're a regular. And I don't want to say regular as in career. I just want to say whether it's holiday or you work there throughout the year. Briefly, I'm just going to talk about the MHA position because I know a lot of people are asking. The MHA position, for the holidays, you're paid $15. $15 and some change, if I'm not mistaken. It might be like $15.30. I'm not really sure because I don't remember. So you won't be doing the work that a PSE does. You'll be doing more physical work. Moving large boxes, using the pallet jack, things in that nature. It is a lot of standing, as well as the PSC position. It is a lot of standing, but it's a lot of bending, lifting, pushing, pulling, all of that stuff. So a lot of times they hire a lot of MHAs because they don't plan on keeping them, but they hire a handful of PSEs. You do have to take a test to become a PSE. I talked about that in the last video, but very briefly, if you need to take a test, it will prompt you to take that test when you go fill out for the job application, and just have that test done by the time it's time for you to go for your interview. The test is 60 minutes. It actually goes by very fast. It's like 5 or 6 sections. They're all a couple of minutes long. It's based on your short-term memory. They give you things to remember. You have to remember it. If you want more information on that, I will not go into that. You can Google it, and I'm pretty sure there's other people on YouTube who talk about it. Somebody did ask me what's the better position. I personally will tell you, I think the better position is a PSE because they usually keep PSEs, even if it's for the holidays. I also believe the PSE position is much better because you're not doing all of the crazy bending and lifting. You are still, however, doing like repetitive work, just like the MHA is doing. You are still doing repetitive work, but I just feel like the pay is better, and it's not less work, but it's less work. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense to whoever. Now, which position is better for PSC and local post office? I'm actually going to get into that later, but right off the top, I would say in the local post office, I believe that PSC position is better. Um, but it's really based on what you want to do, like the hours you want to work. It's really, I'm sorry, I'm stuttering so much, but it's really based on who you are and what your life consists of. Me, I have a son, so a young son at that who goes to school. So I prefer to work in a local office, retail office, because I realized that, you know, I won't be working past a certain time. I can get home to make dinner or to do homework, whatever. Um, Interview process. A lot of people ask me about this. Yes, they do a drug test. Yes, they do a background check. As far as your background check, you can get fired from 1,000 jobs. It doesn't really matter. What they're looking for is that you are a citizen of the United States and that you don't have a felony. Well, let me take that back. I don't know if you actually have to be a citizen of the United States, but I'm assuming that you do. Interview process is different for both. If you're being hired for the holidays, I'm only talking about holidays. If you're being hired for the holidays to work in the plant, then I will say that it won't be your formal style interview process. It'll be more so, hey, come in for orientation. And when you go in for orientation, they'll sit you down, like out of a big group of people, they'll grab you and they will do, I think they do fingerprinting that day. They talk about like your benefits and how to become a career employee. And you know what? I never really paid attention to all that stuff that the lady was telling me because I just felt like, whatever, I'm just trying to get this job, you know? But I do feel like you should pay attention. The interview process is literally just you signing a paper to say, I will not let school or any other job get in the way of me working at the post office. And you're signing the paper to say, yes, I know it is mandatory for me to, that you can be mandated 12 hours, to work 12 hours. They do hold you to that. When you work as a PSC in the local post office, your interview process is more formal. They'll have like 5 or 6 candidates, sometimes more. What they do is they go by test scores. So if someone got a 90, 89, 88, 87, 87, 87, they'll pick all of those people. And like I've been to interview where it was 10 people and I've been to interview where it was 5. I was told by more than 2 postmasters that they usually, they usually pick their candidate by test score. So if you got a 90, you're usually going to get the job. But one of the postmasters did tell me, like, I still use regular interview tactics. So with working in the retail office, you will be interviewing with a postmaster versus in the plant where you'll just interview with a random somebody. I would say dress casual for both. Not casual, I'm sorry. Business, I would say business casual. It doesn't have to be like business professional, but it's really up to you. Because I always go professional, but I went there and people had on like jeans and sneakers. So just look good enough. Hours. So the hours for the plant, the plant is open 24 hours. So that's something that you need to take into consideration. When you actually apply for, when you actually sit down at that orientation, they will ask you if you, like they'll give you a long sheet and it's like 14 and maybe like 18 different selections. And what you do is you mark off from greatest to least what you want to do. They usually try to accommodate you. So, which means this is only for holiday help though. They will say, hey, if you want to work in the morning, pick these. If you want to work in, and they have all different types. They have like, I know somebody who works 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Not the greatest shift, but that might work for somebody. You know, it doesn't work for me. I prefer morning hours, like while my son is in school, 8 to 2. That's perfect for me, even if it's just 6 hours. Excuse me. The hours in your local post office. They will vary. Most likely, chances are you will be scheduled depending on what time or how big the office is. I've worked at 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. before. I've worked at 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. before. Like, it really depends on the office, but expect to be there way before 9 o'clock, way before 8 o'clock. Usually while everybody's still sleeping, you're there because the carriers have to come in. You have to sort the mail for the carriers and then give it to the carriers. So before the carriers come in at 7 or 8 o'clock, you need to have that mail already sorted. So imagine that the time has to be before that. But the plus side is the business close at 5 o'clock. Sometimes carriers come back at 7 o'clock. So the latest you'll be there is around that time, if anything. Time period. The time period when you are working in the plant as a mail handler or PSC for the holidays, they usually write that down on the paper for you. Depending on when you got hired, it does not matter. Your end date will always be January 4th. I chose, and I'm going to tell this story because somebody actually asked me in the comments. I just stopped going. Because I realized there wasn't a lot of work. I was an MHA in the in the distribution center for the holidays, and I just stopped going. Nothing happened. I was still interviewing for other positions, and the reason why I stopped going is because I feel like I was just going to work to stand around, and that's not me. I like to work the whole time. A lot of people was like, I'm going for the easy money, and I'm like, no, not me. So I just stopped going. Nothing happened. It didn't matter. Like, I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm just saying, like, it's a temp position. What's the worst that can happen? Hey, you got fired from a temp position? No, they just didn't show up. That's the reason why the post office does hire hundreds of people, because they're expecting for people not to come back after the holidays because they do want a holiday check. That's why so many people actually go for the position. A lot of people actually have full-time jobs and they only do this on the side. Now I am going to address questions that a lot of people ask. So, uniform and ID. So when you're working for the holidays, you will not be given an ID, a postal badge. When you are PSC and this is like kind of iffy, but when you're a PSC working in your local post office, you only get a uniform, which is just the postal shirt, after you have been window trained to deal with customers. I had a postmaster who, after 90 days, said, okay, I can get you a shirt. You know, I got shirts from like people that work there too. You get an ID right away. You get an ID badge right away. When you're a PSC or a mail handler working in the plant, they'll give you a time card. If that. Sometimes they don't have time to do it, so they'll just give you like a piece of paper every day, and you just have your employee ID number and you write it down whatever time you're coming in, whatever time you're coming out. There was a lot of people, and no shade, but I'm just saying, there was a lot of people who were coming in, writing, and there's so many people there, so they can't keep counting you. I'm not giving no ideas, but I'm just saying, there was people that came in, wrote down, hey, I'm here at 10, even though they didn't, and they was coming in at like 12. Hey, I came in at 10, and then would write a time like, hey, I left at 4. And in all reality, there's so many people, so it's really hard to keep track of you. That person who was writing 10 to 4 was really leaving at 1 o'clock after coming in at 12. Things happen. Someone asked, do I know what a cross-dock facility is? I do not, but what I think it is, I can tell you what I think it is, because I know the post office, usually when the holidays come, they don't have enough bodies. They have enough machines, but they don't, like, it's just so much mail, so they don't have the means to process everything. So what they do is they rent open spaces, and they usually call it annexes. So a cross-dock facility, I'm not really sure, but if I find out, I will respond back to you. Annex, cross-dock, I'm hoping it's the same because I don't want to give you the wrong information, but it's usually when they rent a space that's not a post office, but they rent the space to process the mail, and they hire people there and they have them there. I spoke about the end date. The end date is January 4th. Headphones. Yes, 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 yes. You can wear headphones because you'll always be working independently as a PSC in the distribution center. Yes. My suggestion is, yes, I would ask because I did ask, but I was going to do it regardless. Um, I usually just put one because there's a lot going on. There's people driving, I was going to say pallet jacks. People are driving their machines. You don't want to get hit. You want to hear but it's so much noise that, trust me, you will always hear. And everything around you is usually always louder than your music anyway, so it doesn't matter. I would just always say one ear. I wear my headphones every single day in the local post office that I work in, and it's not a problem, but I usually do one ear so I can hear if people are calling me and stuff. Someone asked about overtime pay. So you're already getting paid $17.19. So overtime is kind of tricky, but it's not tricky. Usually with overtime, if I'm it's over your 10th. I have to double check, but if I'm not mistaken, overtime is over your 10th hour of working. It doesn't kick into over your 10th hour working. And you get time and a half. Then they have something called penalty pay. Penalty pay is when you go over 60 hours for the week. So once you work over 60 hours, anything over 60 hours, you're getting crazy money. And I think that's double your pay. And I got a lot of that, so expect that. And you can work as much as you want. A lot of people is going to say, what's the hours? Listen, they will let you work until your face turn blue. Honestly, they will let you work until you pass out if you want. If that's what you want, get the money. Do what you got to do. You're not required to have any days off as a PSC in the local post office. You're not required to have any days off. As a PSC in the plant, usually they'll schedule you 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, if you let them. But this is not to discourage anyone. In the local post office, I don't work a lot. I used to work a lot when I was at a different post office, so it's different. As a PSC in the local post office, you're only guaranteed 2 hours a day. So you can complain as much as you want. And this actually brings me into the end of the video. Also, my job status now. People are asking me, am I still a PSC? Yes, I'm still a PSC, but I'm looking to get out. Reason being, I work in a AO, which is also known as an associate office, and which means that I have city routes and I have rural routes. So I work in a suburban area where we have a handful of city carriers and a handful of rural carriers. So the city carriers walk around and they deliver the mail house to house, and the rural carriers drive house to house. So if I want to transfer, I'm only able to transfer to other associate offices, and where I work now is like 25 minutes from my house. So any other office that I would transfer to is 30 minutes, 32 minutes, 35 minutes, 45 minutes. They can transfer me anywhere within 50 miles of my house. I'm not getting a lot of hours. I'm only getting not even a few hours a day. I'm working 6 days a week, and I'm finding that it's becoming very difficult because technically speaking, they're not doing anything wrong, but they're not giving me the training that I feel like I need, because they feel like they technically don't need me. I'm just a body, you know what I mean? And I do, but I don't wish that I would have stayed at the other office, because when I was at the other office, at least I was getting 12 hours a day. But I was working six days a week, which was rough for me, because you have so much money, but you don't have no time to spend it, and you're just tired. And because I have a young kid, it's not what I'm looking for. So what will be more ideal for me is to transfer to an office that's in my city, which will be like a city office, and I will work a certain amount of hours and go home, and I would have good money, because right now I'm broke for real, broke. And this is not always going to be the situation. So I don't want to discourage you, but people asked about my job status now, so I'm just giving the information. I would say just literally talk to your postmaster when you're being hired and try to get as much information as possible. How likely is it that I'm going to get 40 hours? Like, if you can survive over 30 hours, that's great, but I'm not even getting 20 hours. So, you know, like, it's tough. So I am looking for another job. I did apply for quite a few other post offices, but you know, if they don't get back to me in time and a random other job that I apply for gets back to me, then I'm going to take it and I'm going to leave the post office. When you are in a post office like me, like an AO, it's really hard because people that work there, they don't retire because the job is so easy. Because it's like it's not a lot of traffic, you know. Their actual route is not that big, and it's something they can do until they're really old. Versus when you go to like a city office, those people retire when they're supposed to because like it's a lot of work, you know. So you're not going to be doing a lot of work till you pass 70. I have somebody working at my job right now that's 85, and I asked him, come on, when you retire? And he said, I have 5 more years or 7 more years. And I'm like, damn, like what you gonna do? Like, but you know, so usually with PSEs, you're waiting for someone to retire or to leave or to transfer out so you can move up. Like, there's no open positions. You're here and you're waiting for this person here to either get out or get out, like really get out, so you can move to the next position. You won't jump right into their position, but it's rough. It's rough. Anyway, yeah, so that's the video. I hope I really answered a lot of your questions. You're always welcome to comment down below. Oh yes, if you didn't take anything from this video, please join the union. Join the union. The union will save you from anything. Join the union. If you don't take anything from this video, take this. Join the union. And I promise that this is not a sponsored video by the union. I'm just telling you what I know. Yeah. Hope I answered you guys' questions. Have a good day.